Woo! Episode 19.
9 baby podcast. Elrond, what's going on, Alec? You got the Chiefs logo, rocking it, looking great, dog.
Thanks, homie. You know, I'm an awful Chiefs fan because I have no idea if they play today. But, you know, I just had to put on a hat because the hair was looking like some shit. How you doing, Stephen?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. And you know, we gotta pull some of that stuff out. You know, that's what hats are used for. You know, whenever the hair isn't looking too good. I mean, it's the weekend here. You know, you're lounging, and you know, I think you rock the hat well, bro.
Thanks, bro. I'm straight chilling, just getting ready for the holiday weekend to come up. I am ready to see some friends and family, including you, homie. Fucking crazy. Yeah.
We'll be seeing each other very soon, home for the holidays, and looking forward to that for sure. So yeah, man, episode 19, pretty stoked. Next episode will be in the new year 2023. So I don't know, man, any thoughts about whether it be the 20th episode of the podcast, moving into the new year, anything off the dome?
You know, I didn't think about it, but it feels right going to the 20th episode on the podcast for the new year. You know, man,
I like that too.
We've really grown since man, it's only been a year and a month that we've been around, and we're doing pretty hot, man. And I can't wait to see what 2023 brings for us. You know, a little bit of things have changed in the Elrond ecosystem, as you can see, MultiversX now. So yeah, dude, I think we got some really awesome things coming up, and I can't wait to see what 2023 brings. How about you, bro?
Dude, yeah. I mean, personally, very excited for just a new year. And I feel like the metaphor of a new year always brings about better habits, you know, kind of a reset of like maybe what didn't go so well over the past 12 months, what can change, what can be added. So I don't know. I think I'm always like a fan of just like the changing seasons, and especially a new year brings about this an excuse to kind of just force a new mentality. So I'm excited for what 2023 will bring from a personal perspective, but then kind of like bringing it into Elrond network, now MultiversX. Just some things have been announced from the team. Like we have dates for all 10 of these new applications that will be branded with that X before it. So we'll probably get into that some more, but yeah, man, like life is good. You know, seasons change and we grow, and you know, what's not to love about that?
Yes, sir. Got to totally agree with that. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I think Benjamin has as well. Though there are dates in front of a lot of these products, timelines are flexible, especially when you're dealing with stuff like this, guys. These are, you know, as Benjamin says, as powerful as fire. So you can't expect these things to be released, you know, always on time. Beautiful things take a lot of work and a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's relevant as well. Funnily enough, I don't know how much really you're into Twitter and into the banter that obviously I get into. But I made a bet with this dude. It's the Sarah Nation on Twitter. So shout out to him. Good dude with good things to say, cool threads. But I don't know. I was just feeling like having fun. And I made a bet that the team would release xExchange at a certain date. There were more technicalities to it, but I did end up losing, and it basically came down to the wire. And it was the Coinbase listing. They wanted to be sure that kind of transition and startup on Coinbase went fluidly. So Lucian Minku made a tweet and said that they're postponing it, and I was just like, I mean, it was all fun. Like, sure, I lost an NFT or whatever, but it was really just like, damn it. Like, I wanted to kind of like stamp this seal of approval of like, see, I told you, like the team has changed. But it's like, exactly as you just said, like, you know, these products, you know, they want them to go really well. So like, honestly, like, all of these dates that Benjamin has kind of noted for these releases. Yeah, dude, like great word there. Like these are really rough dates. Like, you know, this is, you know, computer programming at like a deep ass level, and, you know, things don't always go perfectly.
Yeah, dude, for real. But there have been, well, xExchange is here now, which I think that's something we can all be pretty excited for. There was a couple of changes, which we will definitely get into later in the episode. But the whole environment has definitely changed, man. And I think the people are dying to see what's different.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So before I kind of touch on the topics that I'll be bringing to the conversation for episode 19, shout out to the audience. Thanks for the support. Go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and follow Alec and I, and as well as the podcast on Twitter. We drop a lot of tweets and announcements there. So speaking of which, this is still a little bit tentative. It's not for sure locked down, but Alec and I did have a delayed interview. We've been talking with Holoride for a bit now. Getting the CEO Nils on the show. We were supposed to shoot that last week, and unfortunately he was feeling under the weather. So as for this moment, we're going to be aiming for the last couple weeks of January to get around to shooting that episode. So if you're listening to this, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what sort of things are going on in Holoride, what you could be interested in learning more about. But yeah, so it delayed our episode cadence a little bit. But yeah, man, we've got a lot to get into the episode today. Yeah, I'm curious, Alec, what are you going to be bringing up for your major and your minor topics?
So today I'm going to be going over the governance vote that took place between November 28th and December 5th. Going to go a little bit over about what the people were voting for, what this governance is about, and where maybe we can expect to see governance in the future and what kind of role it's going to play in the MultiversX ecosystem. And for my minor topic, your boy is going to be going over no code NFT creation with OneMint, which I think is fucking sick, man.
Dude, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I saw the announcements on Twitter, and I think now the Myar app. Recently, there's an update. They dropped a new blog post and everything. So yeah, man, it's great to have those blog posts, and I'll just go ahead and say that is one of the main reasons that Elrond and now MultiversX always stood out to me. Was just I really valued the blog that they have, the direct lines of communication with the whole team. It makes me feel really like listened to, heard, and like if I have questions, there's material that I can go out there and read more about. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And you're right, that does kind of nest nicely into really what I'm going to be talking about too. My main topic, with the xExchange dropping, as well as the MEX 2.0 economic upgrade and everything. I'm just going to be opening up the website on my computer, sharing my screen, and I think I'll just kind of give a quick overview of some of the design changes, and also simultaneously we'll talk about some of the kind of the design of like the back end, so referring to UX and UI here, the interface as well as the design. So we'll get into that. I'll be sharing my screen and kind of just giving like a really high level walkthrough, just in case anybody is out there feeling really lost. Maybe this will be just at least like a good kind of landing pad to start on. Awesome. As far as my minor topic is also going to be about NFTs. So I'll go ahead and kind of wait to get into the meat of that really. But it's really just a conversation about NFTs, a recent mint that happened on MultiversX, and just a lot of talking points and thoughts that I think are valuable to share. And most importantly, really, Alec, I'm curious just to hear what your thoughts on all the matter, really, what your thoughts on the matter really are. I assume that maybe you don't know exactly all of what I'm talking about, but I'll be kind of explaining some things that I've seen in the NFT community as of recent. And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are on those things.
Definitely looking forward to it, man, especially going over the xExchange interface. Things have really, really changed, especially if like you just haven't, maybe this is your first, I don't know why this would be your first time hearing about it. Holy shit, things have changed. So if you're logging on for the first time, you're like, what do I do? Hopefully this will help clarify some things for you.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it always goes without saying that all of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing, of course, it's like there's a 24-page paper that the team wrote. And the main kind of reason I think that I chose this as my major topic is, oh man, there were just as soon as the paper came out and as soon as the migration and everything really happened, it was clear that, a lot of people were just feeling really kind of like uncertain and insecure about all of it. So yeah, hopefully just opening up a conversation here and displaying some of it and talking through some of it will just, again, kind of give some people a little bit more security with moving forward with xExchange, which also will include a piece about X Portal. So if you happen to remember and I forget, don't forget to ask me about how does xExchange and X Portal, intertwine. It's okay. It's a quick piece just to tag on at the end, but I think it's really key, really important. But yeah, man, looking forward to hearing from you and hearing all about what you have to say kind of in response to my topics as well, bro.
Same, homie. So speaking of xExchange, did you do anything different, or did you actually participate in locking up your LKMEX and migrating it to the xMEX, as it's now called?
Yeah. So xMEX is now the version 2 of LockedMEX. So just distinguishing, version 1 LockedMEX will be called LockedMEX. It'll retain the original unlocking schedule, but the migration to the new tokenomics is now xMEX. So more X's, gotta love it. So yeah, there are some changes on the xMEX and LockedMEX, but as far as the migration process, I did go ahead and migrate all of my LockedMEX to xMEX. I mean, for kind of a lot of reasons, which, I feel like I could use like a major topic on the podcast to kind of explain to me or explain like personal reasons for what I do. But I won't get into that just for the sake of time. But it does have to do with like the idea that like some people say that locking your funds is not good. But from my standpoint, like, I think that the future for MultiversX is very promising. I see xMEX as almost exposure to the entire MultiversX ecosystem, not only through meta bonding, not only through earning through every activity on xExchange, and specifically too the fact that xMEX is tied with EGLD. If EGLD grows in USD value, then that will attribute to US dollar increase for MEX as well. But also at the same time, like locking for 4 years, again, the big emphasis is that I trust the future. I see kind of the future of MultiversX. I think that it's going to be promising. So that's really kind of, again, I can't really get too heavily into it right now just because that's not the meat of the conversation. But yeah, man, like I did end up migrating all of my xMEX for fundamental reasons, but then also as well for those that did migrate 100% of their LockedMEX position, they were given a few perks like meta bonding boosted, as well as like an NFT and some other stuff. So yeah, I understand that some people kept their LockedMEX and plan to unlock and swap for EGLD or do whatever, and I have absolutely no issue with that. I mean, it's not anything personal ever. I perfectly understand why people are kind of making that decision, and I also understand why people are migrating and charging their LockedMEX, which is of course not xMEX. But yeah, man, what about you?
Just one question for you, a quick follow-up on that. Did you do the 4x multiplier, it sounds like, on all your LockedMEX, or did you just lock up for the 4x average of what your unlock was?
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, if you migrate from version 1 to version 2, it'll automatically like put an increase of the lock. But yeah, man, I went ahead and just fully locked for all 4 years.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome. Thank you. But for my position, I went ahead and I migrated all of my LockedMEX to the xMEX. And the reason I did so, I was making kind of like a calculated risk on this one. Me personally, I truly believe that I'll get into it later, but I truly believe that, we're not out of whatever this is right now, whatever this bear market is. So I was like, I'm not going to sell into weakness. That's one thing I don't want to do. So I have a pretty low average I was pretty close to unlocking almost all my LKMEX. Let's just say that. I was in at the beginning, and the bulk of my LKMEX was going to be pretty close to be unlocked in March of 2023. So if you multiply that by 4, I'm like, okay, maybe we'll be out of this bear market by then, and so I made a strategic move. I can't touch the LKMEX now, or the xMEX, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting at 1.8x multiplier. I haven't decided on if I want to take a portion of that, maybe go the full 4x. But right now, I'm very comfortable sitting at 1.8x with all of my LKMEX. It's a little bit of a tool for me to mitigate stupidity on my part.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so your boy is sitting pretty comfortable with all his LKMEX translated, and so I can't. I did it a little late. I wanted to see what I wanted to give everything a little bit of breathing room. I did it a little later, but can't wait to see what those boosted rewards are like, man.
Yeah, and good for you for kind of waiting a second, because unfortunately I think a lot of people were really eager to get on xExchange and migrate and charge. Unfortunately, in the very early releases, there were some kind of disclaimers and stuff that hadn't been added. Some people did make some mistakes, but I mean, with all due respect, as always, never like to hear that people may have lost money or done the wrong decision. But there were some people who accidentally locked for 4 years when they intended to lock for either 2 or just migrate. And the worst case that I saw, man, like somebody migrated their locked MEX to xMEX, and they accidentally unlocked all of it. So they took like the 50 to 80% loss. I guess at that point it was like a 50 to 70% loss. And it like, even in that early stage release, like it was still very clear, like you're adding energy, you're taking energy away. You check a box that says like, I understand I'm going to lose value. So like, just please everybody, like if you haven't migrated yet, like do be careful. And I mean, read the instruction manual. Like, not to say that we all have to get into the 24-page document and understand the ins and outs, but with all due respect, it's like maybe somebody's English isn't perfect. But what, Alec, I mean, like you've seen xExchange, like isn't everything pretty clearly labeled?
Yeah, dude, I would say so. And if you, I don't want to sound like rude or anything, but if you at least read a little bit about it too beforehand. We even discussed it on the last episode. Like these things were out. Like the information was out there about if you unlock, it's a hell of a fee. Like I think 80%, upwards of 80%. So damn, I feel really awful for that person. I feel for you. But guys, don't do it. Go watch our last episode. We talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, I'm pretty stoked. I'm really happy to hear that you're feeling good and comfortable about where you're at. Even like talking about like selling into weakness. Like that's what my kind of stance is, and where we're at in this bear market. I'm not, I'm definitely done like trying to be like, oh, Alec, I don't know, man, think the bottom is in. Like I go to rest, and I will let the market tell me when the when the bull market is back. But yeah, man, as far as I see, I think that there's much more promise in kind of the future of holding xMEX. And, as the market kind of moves along, whether we move downwards, sideways, upwards, whatever it is, like I personally believe that, I don't know, as you just kind of said, like this is just kind of like selling at a low point. I mean, it's pretty easy to see that. And I think that at kind of bare minimum, it would probably be better to just like wait like a decent amount of time just to see how these all these unlocks and how the market kind of responds. But yeah, man, that's cool to hear that you transferred to xMEX. There's like a part of me that's like proud of you. It's like, let's go.
Yeah, dude, it was after I thought about it for just a little bit, even just like, taking into account all the locking and stuff, it was kind of a no-brainer, especially looking at current conditions. Like you said, like we're at a low point. Why sell now? So, if something is out there that can force my hand into holding, I'm going to utilize it, especially if I benefit from it in the long run.
That's I think a point that you touched on that I forgot to mention too. Like, again, big emphasis is that I've done the research and I trust what MultiversX is building, and because of that reason, I feel confident locking my funds for 4 years. Which again, you can discharge and swap for EGLD. Yep. That is a last resort for me. If I absolutely must or feel the need to do that, the option remains. But from my experience, like, I mean, Alec, I don't know if you really remember, or even if I really said it explicitly, but I did think from the very start that LKMEX was going to be bound to your wallet as it is currently. And in the past, obviously, LKMEX could be transferred from wallets. It can be used with these LKMEX exchanges. So what did Stephen do? Like, yes, I utilized some swaps and made some good trades, but because I swapped LKMEX early on for EGLD, I'd had way too much kind of like liquidity to play with. And, I don't like to have regrets, but I bought a lot of NFTs. And I mean, we'll probably get into NFT discussion a little bit later on. I don't really regret it. But I can't lie, man. Like, there is a percentage of regret that I feel for just like all of the NFTs that I bought. Maybe someday it'll kind of come to fruition and I'll be like, that was a good decision. But the way that I view locking xMEX for 4 years is like putting it in the trust of MultiversX. Like, I may mismanage these funds, and I've still got liquidity in the DEX, and obviously I'll have weekly rewards to make poor decisions with if I really want to, which also might even include the recent NFT, which I'll be talking about later on. But yeah, man, I feel you, and I feel like we see eye to eye on the many reasons that we migrated.
Yes, sir. Speaking of the migration and stuff, like the rewards, I can't find an APR listed anywhere. Is that just like mystery? Are we just kind of just, here's some rewards? Like, how, unless I'm missing something, have you been able to find that?
Are you referring to just almost like a blanket statement? This is like the ground floor APR of everything? Are you, because it's tricky since all of the xMEX rewards are now paid out in fully charged xMEX. So is your APR like, a locked MEX inflated APR, or is the APR as if you were to take that 80% processing fee and that's your kind of liquid APR?
Oh shit, I guess I'm kind of asking the wrong question, because there is no xMEX farm anymore, huh? There's just owning xMEX and then exposure to xExchange. So I guess there isn't an APR, dude. I guess you just get meta bonding and rewards in the terms of fees. So I guess it's variable every single day, every single minute, really.
Yeah, I mean, as more people join the ecosystem and charge up their batteries, earn more locked MEX, like, that's all going to have an effect on essentially how I'm using the metaphor. It's like your overall, power, or your overall pull of your personal battery with among all xExchange batteries. So there's added risk from that perspective as well. But as the weeks kind of go by, we'll kind of be able to take, the numbers and crunch. From what I have read, I shared some of my earnings over the past week. There was also an error in one of the scripts that was not recognizing a lot of people migrating 100% of their locked MEX to xMEX. I was unfortunately one of the people that this error kind of played out to. So I did not receive the proper meta bonding for week 1. Next week, everything should be averaged out and the error has been corrected. So thank you for the team for correcting that. But it will be changing. It is a variable number for the meta bonding and everything. But for the time being, I think that the estimates that people put out there were around like 7%. But I think that's only through meta bonding. It might be closer to 5%, especially if you don't have the boost for migrating 100% of your locked MEX. But yeah, no APRs, but obviously the meta staking still has APR, the farms still have APR, and all that good stuff.
Dope, man. Well, shall we get into the market at a glance, homie?
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned, I think you've got some talking points to discuss. I've already, as per usual, I've already shared quite a bit. So yeah, man, what can you tell us about the market? I'm interested to hear what you're taking note of and what you're about to share.
Yeah, so I've been looking at the traditional markets lately, and I think we're still in a spot where we need to keep an eye on the macro economics, and I think that really kind of leads the horse. Not too long ago, the Feds decided to hike interest rates by 0.5 points. Yet again, this new level marks the highest the Fed funds rate has been since December of 2007, just ahead of the global financial crisis of 2008. So I'm not saying there is a financial crisis coming. I'm just saying, some things kind of line up sometimes. Along with this increase came the indication that officials expect to keep rates higher throughout next year, and they don't see any reductions happening until 2024. This is the highest level of rates we've seen in 15 years. So it's a pretty big deal. And we're also dealing with the worst inflation that we've seen since the early 1980s. A lot of things are feeling pretty rocky right now, but as people keep saying, the jobs market is looking all right. U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, actually was quoted saying, "There is a risk of a recession, but it certainly isn't, in my view, something that is necessary to bring inflation down." So this is the U.S. Secretary of Treasury. She's saying she doesn't see recession as being the end all to bringing down this inflation. She says, I think she thoroughly believes that if we keep increasing these interest rate heights, then consumer spending will hopefully slow down. So she is concerned that a recession is possible in the months ahead, but she says it isn't required to tame inflation. So everything's kind of at, I don't know, I would call it maybe a tipping point right now. We don't know, are we going into a recession? Are we not? Most big bankers like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, those kind of names, they are, even the CEO of BlackRock, I believe, is kind of expecting us to be entering a economic slowdown, which could possibly be a recession. So everyone, keep your eyes out for that. Things may be not too great right now, but they could get worse. So not trying to spread FUD, just making y'all realize that, hey, we're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, man, that's very interesting. And I remember, I don't think it was the last episode, but at some point, I definitely expressed my just feeling, that so many companies had really, really impressive growth and valuation, really kind of since the pandemic. Not to say, of course, that was only dependent on all those stimulus checks and everything, but just whatever it was, there was stimulus added to the economy, and we see it with Bitcoin that just this speculative and these huge blow-offs, like it's just a natural progression. It's a healthy thing for markets to kind of correct. But I mean, obviously, since the traditional markets encompass just like, traditional financial systems like the fiduciary standard, there's a lot more elements at play for sure. So, I mean, I'm okay with a recession, but just from a standpoint of I guess the United States is what we're kind of talking about, the world as well. I mean, my hope is that, things don't get too crazy. Like, like the COVID sell-off was like, boom, like valuation dropping like never seen before. Obviously, it recovered very quickly. But looking at the S&P 500, I mean, it has been pretty volatile, taking 2 steps downward, 1 step back up, 3 steps downward, 2 steps back up. And I mean, as they say, you know, the trend is your friend. Don't fight the trend. There's no refuting the fact that it seems the average market is trending downwards. So it'll be interesting to keep this conversation going episode to episode, especially in relation to the cryptocurrency market. But yeah, from your perspective, I know last episode you shared that you were feeling good about some of the rebalancing that you were doing on your portfolio. So yeah, are there any changes to that in light of what you just shared with us, Alec?
I continue to grow in my 401k. I'm seeing gains instead of losses in this current market, which I am fucking blown away by, dude. I just have to say that, like, just the fact that I've read about it. I don't know. I'm starting to invest in things that, you know, are solid growth stuff, like oil, energy, just anything in the energy sector. I've been really transferring my money over to. And so right now I haven't been feeling the ill effects of this downturn. So
you already paid your dues with MEX.
Yes, I have. But I also
crypto altogether.
Yeah, crypto's a different story altogether. But in terms of 401k and stuff in the traditional markets, you know, I'm feeling good. I rebalanced my portfolio, you know, as I was talking about last time. And right now I'm just going to keep riding that until I see a change in the winds, and maybe one day it'll be time for growth markets again. Because if you were investing in some of those growth stocks in the beginning of 2020 and you got out in time, you did really well. You did fucking amazing. Like the growth that was happening between 2020 and mid 2021, just really incredible stuff. So so everyone out there, this doesn't mean you stop investing, not financial advice, because this is where the wealth is made, is when you're able to get things on deep discounts. But sometimes you shouldn't be trying to go catch a falling knife either.
Yeah, so whenever you kind of say those things, like objective feelings, like the highest the Fed funds rate has been since 2007, like, I don't know, how does Alec kind of interpret that? Do you feel like those are leading indicators, you know, given the financial crisis that proceeded into the following year back then? Like, well, I don't know, if you had a crystal ball, what would it be saying?
Yeah, dude, I think these are indicators. I mean, like, there's only so much money the consumer has, and if the feds keep hiking interest rates, they're going to start slowing down the economy, and we're starting to see that now. And so it's a matter of how far can they hike these interest rates before it tips us over the edge to the point of where we do enter a recession, and not just a slowing economy, but one that has slowed drastically and has decreased the value of almost everything around it. So I think maybe we really are heading there, man. I mean, the market, it needs to go through its cycle, and shit, dude, it's about time, I guess, we enter another one. So everyone just, you know, be careful. And, you know, if you feel like something really truly does have promise and you think it's undervalued currently, maybe you should look at it a little bit more and think about investing in it. But in terms of like buying crazy shit for your house that you don't necessarily need during recession, that's where, you know, I think people should be watching out for. So overall, you know, I'm feeling like we're possibly going to be entering an even greater downturn than we've seen over the past couple of months. So everyone out there, just word of caution.
Gas prices have been going down. I mean, I remember earlier in this year, you were talking about gas going up and the cost of food and everything. Have you been experiencing, you know, kind of relief from that standpoint, or is that affecting how you're feeling moving forward?
Gas prices have been going down here as well. We're sitting at about $2.67 if I head towards Topeka. It's cheaper that way. But in terms of food prices, I haven't seen any relief. Food still seems to be ridiculous. I bought some hot Italian sausage that is usually like $2 for $5. I spent $6 a pound. $6 a pound. That's fucking crazy, man. Your boy is trying to make some Italian food for on the cheap like it should be, and now it's costing me more than it should.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah, out here in California, like it's like definitely been felt. Not so much like the cost of food, but whenever you drive by a gas station and you got $6. But these days, gas I don't think has been this low since I first moved to California. So it's like in the past, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta gas up my car all the way because by the time I have to gas up again, I'm literally gonna pay a higher cost. But like now it's like opposite. It's like, oh, like I'm gonna let my tank kind of run really close to empty because like prices are falling. So like I'm gonna use all the gas I got, and then I'll be able to like pay less for gas, once I actually need it.
Oh yeah, man, that's good to hear. I can't wait for you to see the prices once you make your way back out here. They're drastically different.
Well, I dare say that people are not watching podcast Elrond to hear about gas prices. But yeah, man, thanks for sharing that market at a glance from the traditional standpoint. As far as the Bitcoin market goes, yeah, I mean, we're still moving sideways after the FTX shit hit the fan now close to a month ago, actually over a month ago. It's like everybody was on, pins and needles waiting for things to happen, in terms of further capitulation. So every day is a new day. Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested, and who's to say really what will kind of shake out with that? What sort of, impacts that could have on the market from just a ripple effect standpoint. But I will say that so far, just like the price of Bitcoin and everything being that kind of market leader, by no stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods with Bitcoin either. But I'm a perma bull. I acknowledge that we're in a bear market. But hey, and until there is no more deep, horrible blood in the streets, I'm following the charts. I see things kind of constructing. We passed $18,000 last week, which is quickly kind of retraced into, technically speaking, an area of support that should be around like the $16,000 level. So, there's no indication, no crystal ball here. But, we are really at a make or break point, I would say, for the crypto market too, where the previous consolidations in the downtrend, consolidate over all these many days only to continue the downtrend. So at this point, after the FTX, stuff going on, we made it past 18K, which is just a good first step. But now, we're on the chopping block, and it's like, all right, like technically speaking, this is where support needs to hold. It could go a little bit lower, but altogether, man, like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just kind of holding my breath a little bit. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But as always, I try to roll with the punches. Any thoughts that you want to share or response on just like the Bitcoin market, the downtrend ever since hitting 69,000 a year ago? Yeah, any response there?
Nah, man, I'm just waiting for things to turn back around. I have no big hopes here. Your boy's just, straight chilling, just hoping for, blood to stop being in the streets, but I can't change the way things go.
Some growth would be nice. We got a very short-lived Coinbase pump, but at this point, it's no out of the woods yet for sure.
No, sir.
Price is price, whatever. I have been using MultiversX on Coinbase, and it's honestly been a lot of fun. I've been finding some benefits, like using Coinbase. Like a lot of the fees are covered just because it's Coinbase and they have some benefits, etc. But yeah, I think just from a very high perspective, Coinbase is kind of green lighting MultiversX, and I now have, it's funny, now I again have a reason to use Coinbase, where in many years past, I've just kind of stepped away from it because I've just been kind of like, centered around MultiversX.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely nice to have a big name like Coinbase hosting the MultiversX now, which is really dope. Yeah, you're right though. That was definitely a short-lived pump. I don't think we should have expected anything great from it, but it is what it is.
I don't think I really expected anything from it. And just by nature, like especially whenever we're in a downtrend, people shorting the market, they're at the ready to submit their orders, kind of at the peak of those little pumps. So it's just the nature of these markets. There was zero part of me that really thought that EGLD was going to list on Coinbase and the bull market was going to resume and this is the bottom. Bitcoin has not surpassed its most recent lowest point. So from that perspective, that's kind of a process pending. Haven't quite capitulated beyond that. But you know how it goes. No crystal ball, and we'll just keep on rolling with the punches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shall I go ahead and start moving us into the major topics, Stephen?
Yeah, bro. Sounds like you're going to be bringing us into a talk on the governance vote, and then that'll kind of transition over to talking about xExchange. So the mic is being formally passed to you to give us the rundown, brother.
All right, here we go. So, as I mentioned earlier, the first governance referendum, which was voting on the transition of xExchange and MEX 2.0, happened between November 28th and December 5th. So what this was a 7-day voting period for people to go ahead and cast their vote about whether or not they wanted to move the MultiversX to xExchange and whether or not they wanted the previous MEX economics to be changed to MEX 2.0. So votes were cast. I'm kind of going off numbers in the top of my head. So excuse me if they're wrong. I believe 88% said yes. There was I think like 8% that abstained or even a smaller percentage. But so it was a pretty big overwhelming yes in order to have this transition happen. So this was actually the first governance vote that ever happened on what is now the xExchange. So when MEX was first released, governance was actually touted as being one of its utilities that it was supposed to have. So governance is this thing that just allows people to democratize decision-making, enabling interest alignment for all parties participating by allowing them to have a say in the future directions of the protocol. So I believe there was a snapshot of LKMEX that was taken on the 16th of November, 2022. And all users holding LKMEX at the time of the snapshot were like given a certain amount of voting power. And then over those 7 days, people went ahead and voted on the referendum, and now we have xExchange and MEX 2.0 because of the overwhelming yes. And so now if you were to log onto what was formerly known as Multiverse, it is now xExchange, and things have been transitioned. MEX 1.0 is now MEX 2.0, which means your MEX is no longer transferable between wallets. And there's also a couple of other changes that happen, such as total supply is now going to be capped. That's a big deal. Supply used to be unlimited in the supply, which totally made it an inflationary coin. So we needed some kind of change, and that's what MEX 2.0 is bringing. In 8 years from now, the emissions of MEX will be zero. So in 8 years from now, there will be no more MEX ever created. Whatever is created, that's freaking it. LKMEX version 2 also introduced you to 100% exposure to metastaking. It also allows you to add energy to your LKMEX now. And yeah, man, I think that about covers a lot of, also one other key piece is that now if you have unlocked MEX, that is now a pretty key entity in the ecosystem. Unlocked MEX is going to be fully transferable on xExchange. It's going to be buyable by the on-ramp solutions like MoonPay, Transact, Ramp, etc. It's also going to be usable for payments in the X Portal, which is going to be the super app, the X Spotlight, which is going to be the new Inspire.art marketplace, X Money platform as well. And you're going to be able to use Unlocked MEX to top up cards. And you're going to be able to use it as liquidity within the xExchange pool. So some pretty big changes that happen with this vote. a lot of people, I think, are decently happy. So just going to leave it at that. What do you think, Stephen?
Yeah, the governance was. I think it was really cool to see that implemented. A lot of people for the past year have been talking about, when governance, when all of this stuff, and I don't know. Like, to me, I guess I'm just being challenged by the community. That I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but the team has always talked about how xExchange, MyRxchange, is going to grow, and specifically how the MEX token is going to grow. And they've always talked about how governance will come, as well as other reasons. Touting this kind of first-class citizenship terminology. And to me, it's like, it is here with this proposal. We have governance, and we have this, entire alteration to the way the MEX token and the xMEX, kind of what their roles are within the MultiversX ecosystem. And to me, like, everything feels really just like cut and dry and relatively calculated.
Yeah.
Just from a standpoint of year one was bootstrapping. MEX was provided for all. You could get it from for liquidity, or you can get a higher APR in this locked asset. And it's just interesting how so many people over the year transition from when is this coming to just losing all faith. And now it's arrived, and it seems as though, I'm curious what your thoughts, but the loudest voices in the community kind of seem as though they just like totally forgot that they ever believed in MEX from the very beginning, and the bear market altogether has just kind of like depleted this sense of like, this makes sense. MultiversX team, it has a mission, and they're being intentional and thoughtful. Just some communication issues over the past year, I think, have unfortunately diluted some of the trust from newcomers into the team, and that's okay. Like, everybody's perfectly valid to feel that way. But the whole governance vote was awesome. That showed us that the xExchange is in the hands of the community, and I'm excited to continue to vote and maybe be a part of new proposals that come to xExchange.
Yeah, I can see why maybe a lot of people might, have lost all hope because, this bear market can easily weed out a lot of people and make a lot of people feel kind of like shit, which is, it's just, it is what it is, man. Like, you see these kind of losses, and like, it's hard to get excited about anything that's coming, and it's hard to like, just bear markets in general, it's hard to really push anything out there and really push for growth because you're pushing against the tide, so I can easily see why a lot of people are feeling that way, but I think it's great. Yeah, everything here, super cut and dry, like you were saying, man. Everything is super transparent, and it's great to see the team put a lot of thought into this, into building MEX 2.0. And maybe there might be some naysayers out there, or some people who maybe just aren't feeling great about it because they were expecting, maybe MEX to have a little bit of a bigger valuation currently, being touted as this first-class citizen. But I think it's just kind of a wait and see type of game, and see, it's obvious to see that the team is pushing hard and trying their best to build something great here. So in my opinion, it's totally worth sitting on the sidelines a bit, locking up your tokens for just a bit longer, and seeing where this road takes us.
Yeah, man. And, the whole concept of holding your locked MEX and selling it for EGLD, again, I mentioned it at the beginning. It's like, I think people are perfectly justified in taking those rewards that they earned. And thank you to everybody who provided liquidity. But I think the team has really been clear that locked MEX is a long-term play. And I when I received my meta bonding rewards this past week from the week one of xExchange, I was a little bit discouraged to see it. But I think some key points to remember are just how deep into the devaluation of some of these assets we are. 80% down, 90% down, 95% down. And, not to play hopium or copium or whatever, but just the worth of all of the rewards that we'll be able to get on xExchange will just, oh man, I feel like a future. I feel the next bull market. I feel, this coming April, once all 10 of these X apps from MultiversX are released, and there's just a hunk of a depiction, a real tangible depiction of what this ecosystem is doing. And I mean, if all of these pieces, just come together, which I do believe that they will, I think that the price of xMEX along with EGLD and all the rewards through meta bonding and the fees pool, it's just going to be extremely powerful. At this point, I'll admit that does sound a little bit of like copium, but I don't know, man. That's the mentality that brought me through previous bear markets. Was even though prices are going down and the narrative of this story seems, that it's a bad story, the long-term view, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I think xMEX, the team is they will not let this fail. We have 8 to 10 years to see these emissions continue to fall. As soon as the locked MEX version 1 stops unlocking in May of 2024, which is a year and a half away, but once the locked MEX version 1 stops unlocking, who's to say where we will be at that point? But I am really looking forward to just the longer term view of all of this coming together. And obviously the governance was a key element for the team to bring into the picture.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's definitely a wait and see type of game. But what do you got for us on your major topic today, homie?
Yeah, dude. So I'm going to go ahead and share about the xExchange, just give a quick overview of the UX and UI upgrades. All right, cool, everybody. So xExchange is the new domain for MyRxchange, and I just wanted to start here at the beginning so that you can see some of these things. It highlights from a high level just some of the features, and then a key element here, this xExchange 2.0 paper, is this 24-page document, which it's the user manual for using xExchange, and I would definitely recommend people to read it, because I think that there's a lot of learning that can kind of take place there. So once you actually go into xExchange, if you click the logo on the top, you're actually brought up to this brand new page called the dashboard, which I really like, a lot of other people really like, and this wallet that I have on xExchange right here is actually the podcast Elrond wallet. So I'm going to scroll down and you can see this is the 10,000 UTK that we received for the interview. We will be sending that out, I think, on Christmas. I'll go ahead and make it a Christmas giveaway and finally get around to sending out that UTK to everybody. We got over 150 responses on our interview with Utra, Sonia, and Nuno. So we've got that staking away, and we'll send it directly from MetaStaking. So whatever piece you get, you've already been earning interest on it. So interjecting that really quickly. But yeah, this dashboard's really cool. It shows you your locked tokens if you have any, and then the price discovery has to do with new tokens listing on the DEX. Liquidity will be the different liquidity provider tokens, which all of these other tabs at the top are relatively just the same as they were with MyRxchange. You're not going to notice many or really any differences between this version and the last version. The main screens that have changed are, of course, this side panel, which will display the energy that you have. If you have MEX available, you can increase your energy. And just for the show today, I'm just going to do a little bit of fun here. and quickly just walk through the process of somebody who might be interested in earning some energy on the DEX who doesn't have any. So just by using the swap functionality, we'll go ahead and swap a little bit of EGLD to MEX here, a simple exchange to first get us into that kind of entry point. I know a lot of people like to use the MyR wallet as well as the DeFi wallet. But while that's swapping over, I'm going to go ahead and highlight again this side panel. It's pretty cool. You can see all of the xMEX owners. You can see the different classes. And again, those different classes are distinguished by the amount of energy that you have locked within the system, which it explains what all of these are on that main page with the DEX leagues. So depending on your energy, you'll be classified as one of these different kind of characters within xExchange, and as it says, you'll be able to compete, and each new tier will offer new benefits. So that's a little bit of a gamification element that they've added, which I think is pretty cool. But then again, you know, that main dashboard is kind of the key element that I think I really enjoy that they added. Up here, this charging fees reward, this is the fees pool that will collect xMEX from people discharging their xMEX, passive rewards from emissions, as well as the trades on the DEX. So charging fees are distributed every week. You have the traditional meta bonding. But yeah, so I just swapped my EGLD over to MEX. You can see that I have this amount available to charge up. So I'll go ahead and continue to lock my MEX and see right here, select a locking period. This will affect your energy multiplier. So just for the sake of this show, I'll just go ahead and do just like a 1-year lock on there. And it's, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully there are no reasons for people to sign any transactions that were in error. But yeah, I think whenever it comes to charging your locked MEX, or rather your xMEX, you know, it's definitely an added risk. I don't think that there's any question that locking your funds in an exchange can add some risk. But again, you know, the more energy you have, the more governance power you have, the more rewards you will be able to derive. And all of this really kind of comes back to the element that MEX is now the access point to this first-class citizenship, right? So even though, you know, this is the first iteration of, you know, MEX 2.0, I mean, as we see here, the xExchange energy competition, the marketing has officially began for the X Portal app, the X card, and we can see here that along with this marketing, you know, they're marketing EGLD and xMEX together. So this is speculation a little bit, but as I have tried to communicate times before, the MultiversX team seeks to onboard the next 1 billion users, and the front page of MyR Exchange said, you know, DeFi for the next million, DeFi for the next billion. The team is going to be marketing EGLD and xMEX and X Portal and all of these things together. This energy competition will hopefully entice people further in order to get some of these first wave card waiting list spots. And whether or not you participate, whether or not you compete is beside the point. I think that the key takeaway of this energy competition is emphasizing that, you know, xMEX is not something that I believe the team, you know, is just throwing to the background. EGLD and xMEX are key players in the entire MultiversX ecosystem. And I think that we have every reason to believe that the team is going to continue to add more reasons to talk about MEX, to use MEX, to bolster this first-class citizenship. So heading back over to the DEX, wrapping up here, you can see that I've now locked my MEX that I just swapped over on xExchange with 1 year. So I do have some energy, which has increased. I'm now Edison, position 87,000. So I've got quite a ways to go up the leaderboards. But if I want to earn some more energy, you can come down down to the side panel, the energy multiplier, and very simply, you can increase your energy multiplier. So you can use this side panel to do this, but I want to emphasize using the dashboard. The dashboard is a much larger screen, as you can see, and it also has specific buttons to push for your locked tokens. So on the dashboard, under DEX assets, locked tokens, you can see that you can add energy, select 2 years, 4 years, current unlock date, new unlock date, max. It tells you all of the specifics. And then most importantly, whenever you decrease your energy or you unlock it, if you hit max there, it tells you what the unlocking fee, and after 9 to 10 days, this is how much you're going to receive after the processing fees. So it's really important to just maintain focus on what you're doing. DeFi is a high level topic, and it's not really for everybody. And tying it back around to the X portal, not only is there a lot of hype that's going to be surrounding the release in first quarter of 2021, but what I mentioned earlier was just like the idea that X portal, as we saw at X Day, from the head of product, Sergio, he is displayed to us that there's going to be swap functionality on X Portal. So people are going to easily be able to add US dollar, top up their X Portal application straight from their bank account, and straight from the X Portal application, they can swap from US dollar to EGLD to any other Elrond standard digital token. So obviously, what's powering that are all of these liquidity pools, on the back end of the DeFi. These are the gears that are turning back here, and these are advanced topics. And if you want to provide liquidity, if you want to buy MEX and get xMEX energy, then at that point, I think I would highly recommend getting into this 24-page paper and learning about what you're getting into. But from a standpoint of swapping and adoption, that X portal is going to be that front end. There's going to be what I'll call like a fun-sized MyRDEX built right within that, newcomers and people adopting into MultiversX won't need to understand the depths of. So that was a little bit long-winded as per usual. But yeah, man, just wanted to provide a quick high-level overview of all the different aspects. The side panel, the dashboard are the main two aspects that have been kind of changed, and I'm looking forward to how this might change over the coming months and years.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that with us. The UI and UX has definitely changed a lot, and I just got to say, man, I really love the battery loading icon that they have when you switch in between pages. They really think about their UI and UX quite a bit, as you can tell just by the design. It's beautiful. It's just easy to say that. I think so. Yeah, and if you go to MultiversX.com, not MultiverseX, MultiverseX.
Yes.
So keep the E off. I did that before. It didn't take me anything inappropriate, thank God. But if you go to their website, holy shit, that's even more beautiful. Like, I don't know if you've been there, but man, they do such an amazing job on all their design. I just got to give a big shout out to the team as someone who does design on a smaller scale. You guys are fucking bomb.com when it comes to that.
And I mean, hopefully listeners are still, listening, and please hear me on this, because the whole MEX 2.0 model got negativity because it's so complex. But think about the other end of that. Like, imagine if people got into xExchange and it was just like simple. It's like, learning is fun. Like, diving into these topics for me and for a lot of others, dude, it's a lot of fun, man. Like, I haven't really devoted myself to learning since college. So a year ago when MyRXchange dropped, and then now we have new things to learn, it's like, I'm kind of stoked on the complexities of it all. I think it's super fun. I think it's exciting that the team revealed this whole energy and battery metaphor. Like I think that it is something to get excited about, and it's something to cultivate conversation. So I won't get into that, just because again, it is complex, but it is a complex tool. And if you're going to use it, I'll just end with saying, like, take the time, read the user manual, and focus and be intentional whenever you're using the tool, so that you don't accidentally make any mistakes.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and move into these minor topics, bro, because I think we got some really good shit to share with people today. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and get us started on this OneMint stuff. So something that was recently announced, November 30th, actually, there's MultiversX is paired up with OneMint. And the website is onemint.io if you wanted to go ahead and learn a little bit more. But OneMint is an NFT platform that can help you generate, deploy, and mint your NFT collection. They're already paired up with Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, and Binance. So those are some of the big names that OneMint is currently working with. As someone who has looked into making NFTs himself, the coding behind creating 10,000 unique different NFTs or whatever number you're trying to do, holy shit, it's complicated. And the whole thing about OneMint is to easily do, literally, bro, it's drag and drop. You create all the elements, as in the shirt, the whatever you're creating for your avatar, or whatever your NFT is going to be. You drag and drop the different characteristics of it, and then it does its thing. There's a whole page on OneMint has a blog where you can learn how to use MultiversX and leverage it with OneMint in order to make your NFT collection and even mint your NFT collection using OneMint, which is pretty amazing. And I think the thing I can't hit on enough, it's no code, drag and drop environment. I think that's really, really lowering the barrier of entry for a lot of people who want to get into NFTs and maybe mint their own NFTs, and maybe they only know how to do the designing and the drawing aspect. I mean, dude, apparently that's all you need to know now in order to use this OneMint platform. I will say, if you did want to use this OneMint platform, you're looking at a $199 fee in order to mint per collection that you want to do. That's pretty reasonable considering the work that has gone in behind whatever this program is. So again, this is lowering the barrier of entry. As we know, NFTs are one of those things that can help bring people into the ecosystem. So I think this is a great step forward in the Elrond MultiversX NFT ecosystem. So great strategic move by the team. I'm happy to see this thing out there, and
hell yeah,
I'm ready to see it used.
Yeah, man, that's really exciting. And you said the fee was essentially $200?
Yes, sir. $200 per collection. It didn't even say a mint or a collection amount max. It just said per collection.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe some will look at that and say that's a high price. But one, I think there's something to be said about having a fee for something. If something is free, you question, how quality is it really? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you do pay for something, I don't know, man, like that leads me to believe, it's worth it. And I mean, obviously, dude, like if you want to mint an NFT, no code being a huge benefit, but also too, it's like $200. I mean, if you're really stoked and passionate about this project that you're bringing to life through OneMint, $200, that will open up a door for unlimited funding. So, I mean, I think that is a really great benefit. And, at bare minimum, it's like, it provides just a little bit of barrier of entry for people to avoid kind of abusing it, It's going to cost you a little bit. So it's just a slight little test to hopefully just keep the honest people honest.
And really, if you look at your time, and let's say you value your time at $40 an hour, and you spend 10 hours trying to figure out how to code your NFTs in order to create 10,000 unique ones. Yeah. You just spent $400 of your time when you could have just simply gone to a pre-built platform that would have spit it out for you.
Dude, that's such a good point. And like that's just like a key element. It's like sometimes, you know, you pay a cost for something, and it's the cost is saving you time, is pushing off, you know, the due diligence that would take to get something going, so that obviously, you know, somebody who can do it better, you know, you can just leverage that, and you know, it saves you net time, net resources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as I understand it, Stephen, you had some NFT discussion that you'd like to talk about today as well. Excited to hear it, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I want to check out that OneMint, and hype more about it up, because kind of as you started with that introduction to the OneMint, you know, NFTs, you know, they got presented to me in like 2021 on Ethereum, and I was just like, this sounds like a scam. I'm just gonna stay in my lane, and then, you know, I missed this entire like bubble explode on Ethereum, and then, you know, over a year ago we had it kind of land on MultiversX, and it's all been great. And especially during the bear market, you know, we're freaking degenerates out here. It's like it gives us something to do. We get to trade, we get to flip if you're into that sort of thing. I'm into holding for the long term, but you know, it keeps people kind of interested, keeps people engaged, and you know, as people have been kind of talking about in the MultiversX community, the NFT market has felt a little bit dry. You know, like liquidity is kind of, it's very thin. You know, it's like there's only so much liquidity go around, and you know, if you're you know, if you're selling an NFT and then you're just selling that EGLD for US dollar, I mean, you're just taking funds out of the ecosystem. And overall, like the whole NFT market has been in a downtrend along with the entire market. Yet this past week we had a huge peak in hype, a huge peak in volumes on the MultiversX NFT ecosystem. And it's been a very, I would say, a very dramatic kind of a story to be told. And the main reason for that is that all of this activity was derived from another ape, another NFT ape on MultiversX. And it's not even just another ape, but it's a derivative of Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah.
So the project is Bored Ape X Club, and the art is unique from a standpoint of it's branded for MultiversX. You know, the monkeys, you know, the art looks essentially just the same, but you know, there were some creative liberties that were taken to brand this towards the MultiversX ecosystem. So there's also just derivatives and copies all over Solana and Cardano NFT spaces, and I think from a bare minimum, it's kind of cool that now people in MultiversX can rock, you know, what looks like a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. It's definitely like, you know, you have like a fake Gucci bag or something like that. But I currently have my PFP as one of these Bored Ape X clubs, really just because I'm using it as a statement to what I see Web3 and NFTs as. And it can really just be boiled down to, like, you know, blockchain and cryptocurrency. Like it's a free market. It's a free world. You know, anybody can come along and create whatever project that they want. So I will put a big disclaimer here that there is, you know, discussion about this project has provided MultiversX NFTs in the past, and these projects have died, and they've essentially slow rugged. So by all means, as always, do your own research. This is not financial advice, but the facts are that you know, as of this moment, the Bored Ape X Club not only did their collection of 10,000 profile pictures sell out at the public mint, but this week I'm looking at Frame It right now. I'm not honestly sure if this is right. I have it shared here, so I'll just go ahead and share my screen just so I don't sound so like I'm just like making this up. But yeah, so this is the from the Frame It website, and as you can see here, like the weekly volume is over 7,000 gold. Do your own research and don't overexpose yourself to projects that maybe aren't well known. But there's just been some people who have been kind of hating on the Bored Ape X Club. Shout out to DB Crypto on Twitter. He shared a few important things. He shared a thread, which I'll go ahead and share in the description below. But as he says here, in under 48 hours, Bored Ape X Club did over 4,200 EGLD in volume. So he's not endorsing the project. He sees that the project has a strong community, and it is supported by the Solana version of it. So there's a lot to be said about bringing in new eyes from Ethereum, as he talks about here. And then on top of that, there are people speaking negatively about the project because as a derivative, they plan to buy an Ethereum Bored Ape yacht club, like an official one, and this will kind of like be a derivative of it. So I think it's important to note that they will be using the funds from the mint to buy one of these Ethereum Bored Ape yacht club NFTs. But as we know, there is passive income from owning a Bored Ape NFT, and this gives them access to adding liquidity back into the system. But again, I mean, emphasizing, or rather re-emphasizing, the point of Web3 and blockchain. There's just a lot to be said about this is a free market, and the fact that this is a copy or a derivative, maybe it isn't the greatest to bring the spotlight to MultiversX, but a lot of people have come to see MultiversX because of this mint, putting up volumes the way that they did. At a time when the majority of the MultiversX NFT kind of ecosystem is pretty much dead. So I mean, I'm not really sure why people are really kind of like shaming them. If they rug, that's one thing, and that's a conversation that I will entertain when the time comes. I am not endorsing endorsing Bored Ape X Club. I don't know that much about it, but I'm just using this as a statement because I think that it's important for the market to be free. And if people want to have a copycat of this or that, like, just don't mint it. Like, just keep your head down and keep on building good things. And I just want MultiversX to grow. And sometimes volume is volume. Like all publicity is good publicity. So it may not be perfect to how everybody wants it, but I think in general, just if we're able to use our energy for good and either don't use energy, like don't put negative energy into the conversation, as they say, like if you don't have something nice to say, like don't say it, which, I do my best to kind of do that as well altogether. But it's just like something to keep in mind. And I'll just go ahead and end this kind of piece just with finally bringing up that page on Frame It NFT, where you can see that within days, Bored Ape X Club is the number 8 largest NFT by volume on MultiversX. Like, obviously you have huge numbers from these top 3. Elrond Apes, obviously I'm a big fan of Drifters. I actually, I own that NFT, clout, #clout. But yeah, just my hope is that people will kind of just like let this pass and that they'll just continue to focus on building good things. But at the end of the day, look at the numbers that this project is putting up. Look at the excitement that it's kind of brewing. It's bringing people together, and I think that there's a lot of value to be said about that. So that's all I'll leave it at for now, just for the sake of time. There are more thoughts that I could share, but wrapping it back around to you, Alec, not that I did the world's best job at kind of explaining the background on all of that, but what are your thoughts? Did you hear or learn anything about Bored Ape X Club prior to, and like, what do you think about derivatives, like potential kind of copies? Like, what's your impression?
I think here are my thoughts on where the hype is derived from. I think people see anything Bored Ape this, Bored Ape that, and they automatically think about the crazy floor price that Ethereum has for Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. I think there might be some hopium fueling a lot of these purchases. People may be hoping that one day they'll see these Bored Ape X Clubs, sitting at a floor price of 100,000 USD, which would be really something, Yeah. But I also think, me personally, I want to see some originality out there, and especially the fact that, yes, it may be backed by Solana, but it's also not Yuga Labs Bored Ape Yacht Club. This isn't, something endorsed by Yuga Labs. This is something someone literally stole the art from Bored Ape Yacht Club and they repurposed it, because it's technically copy and paste art at this point. When you look at this, there may have been some liberties of adding a candy cane or putting an X in some places, but I have my opinions of, good for I'm really happy for the team that put this thing together. I really hope that they're a legit team that continues to reward the people that participated in this, because that's what we're all here for. We're all here for finding NFT that has great utility, and that's not going to be a rug. And I'm not saying this is a rug at all. I'm just saying that, that what I stated earlier, that might be some of the reasons as to why there was great success behind this. But I think it's really cool that they're going to use these funds to purchase one of the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs and actually get some passive income that they're going to then pass on to EGLD holders. This is, I think, an interesting path for people to take in making derivatives off of things that have been super successful in Ethereum, because I think anyone is looking for that great chance to get in early on an NFT and then just watch it blow up. So those are my thoughts on Bored Ape X Club. I can see it having some success if the team stays true to their purpose.
For sure, man. And I mean, it's unfortunate. I am not a paid shiller, and I mean, I tweeted about it. Hopefully people saw it, but it's like, I didn't mint. I don't have 100 of these NFTs in my wallet. Like, for all I know, they're a slow rug. But the fact that people are hating on it so heavily, it's like kind of, I mean, maybe it was a little bit immature, but it's why I made my PFP one of these monkeys or these apes, just because like we have all these, self-righteous EGLD builders doing it the right way and saying that this is how it is to do it the right way. But it's like, like the NFT market on MultiversX has flopped. Like, volume has been pretty much dead, except for some of these, bigger projects. And I mean, rewinding back to, the Drifters mint or the Elrond apes mints, whenever a mint sells out, yes, there could be something shady going on in the background, but it's all a matter of what the future holds, what the team will do. If this is a rug or a slow rug, we will learn from this process. I certainly will. But Elrond Apes was able to grow because it had such a quality foundation that it was able to springboard off of. Same with Drifters, same with Nogin, and what they did with the dragons, the Noguns, which I might be butchering the name on. But, I think that with great power comes great responsibility. And I do agree with the negative aspects you brought about the copy and paste art, and I mean, I hope that in a year's time, we can look back on all of this and we can see that the team, took this responsibility. They rose to the occasion, and they really did create a name for Bored Ape X Club on MultiversX. So I mean, I'm not sure what you would call it, like hopium or what. Like, maybe I'm just just being, stupid. But I want to try to give these people a shot. They have the most traction that the ecosystem has seen in months, and there's a lot of drama surrounding it too. So I will change my PFP back to probably drifters or something like that. So I hope that I didn't seriously offend anybody, but it's just like the kind of the mentality that I have and I've shared on Twitter. It's like, if you can't laugh and have fun, maybe you're a little bit overexposed. Like, I'm not flipping my Bored Ape X clubs. Like, I bought a few off of the floor, off of secondary. Like, I'm here for the fun of it. I've been, meeting some new people from Solana and different blockchains that have been onboarded because of Bored Ape X Club. And, again, it's like nobody has a crystal ball for the markets or for the NFT ecosystem. We just got to roll with the punches. I have never endorsed Bored Ape X Club. In fact, I see my position on Twitter as a way to take in questions that I see people have, and kind of with my reach that I have and the stage kind of that my tweets can have, it's like I'm gonna use it to put people on blast. Like, if people have questions, if people have doubts, like I'm gonna tag you. Like, I'm gonna at Bored Ape X Club and ask them direct questions like, what about this? What about that? Like, there needs to be people to rise to the occasion and really just be a voice of let's kind of keep people accountable. And I see this as an opportunity for MultiversX, as well as just a learning experience for everybody. So I'll kind of leave it at that. I'm not telling anybody to, invest their money into this project. But at the same time, I think it's partially a little bit fun that we can put on Bored Apes on our PFP and pretend that we have like Bored Ape Yacht Club clout. Like, it's like I said, it's like rocking like a fake Gucci bag, but there's community and camaraderie around that. And I don't know, I'm just here for the fun of it. Like, I try not to get too lost in the seriousness of it all. So hopefully, like I said, long term, won't have any negative serious repercussions. But NFA, do your own research. If you like NFTs, get into it. If not, stay in your own lane. I don't know what else to say. I think I've hopefully kind of gotten the point across that I at least wanted to share about.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that, dude. And I just wish the best to the team and everyone who's invested in it. And can't say more than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure Baby's DGen rugged, and I think that's your Twitter profile.
Yeah.
It's like rugs happen. Like, I feel like that should be like a hashtag or something. Like, I've been rugged before, I'll probably be rugged again. And like, even, I've invested EGLD into, quality projects of, people that I was interacting with on Twitter, and they're like, we're doing this and we're really excited about it and we're doxxed and we're going to do all this stuff. And then it just went kaput. And it was a slow rug, but done in like this quote unquote respectful or transparent way. But it's like, I've been butthurt by docs projects with good intentions and established, community credibility who slow rugged. So it's like, the NFT market is whack. And, it's something that I'm having fun with. It's not something that I'm using to pump my own bags. It's just a community and it's a way to drive volume and excitement around MultiversX. So I'll leave it at that. Nothing else more to say.
Awesome, man. I think that's about all we had for the podcast today. Was there anything else that you wanted to share at all, Stephen?
I would say the last thing that I would share probably just goes along the lines of Benjamin sharing these dates for what's to come over the next 4 months or so, which I'll just share my screen right here just to share it with everybody. So yeah, we talked about it at the beginning, not to be relied on heavily, but X Fabric looks like it will be the final project on the end of April. But beginning on December 10th, we saw xExchange, X Spotlight will be January, and then pretty much like beginning in January all through April, once every 2 weeks, we will have a new project according to this timeline, which to me sounds extremely ambitious. The first domino to fall was the xExchange, and that was definitely a big one. So I'm definitely going to be glued to the market, or rather just the communication channels, to see if the team really can deliver this ambitious schedule of releasing a new application, pretty much just like a new application every 2 weeks, ending with X Fabric, but X Money in April as well. But then a big one will be the 2-year anniversary, roughly from our application first launching in late February. So there's a lot to be excited about moving forward. And at this point, I'm hoping that the team kind of updates their roadmap and shares with us a little bit more about what their plans are for 2023. I think that the official roadmap does need a bit of an update there. But altogether, man, looking forward to it. Is there anything that you would say you're kind of really looking forward to as we wrap up here?
No, some of the bigger things like xExchange and MEX 2.0 were definitely the biggest things that I was waiting for, and they're here now. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how they continue to develop. And as I said, way earlier in the podcast, these dates are flexible. So just everyone keep that in mind.
For sure. Well, sick, bro. Episode 19 in the books. Next time we'll be together on the podcast, that is, will be year 2023. I'll be interested to see what sort of stuff we have to report on at that time. But as far as this episode goes, any final words you want to leave the audience? Any special words of encouragement for the new year?
No, sir. Just everyone have a happy holidays. That's the holiday season. So just have a great time doing it, whatever it is that you do. Thank you for all of your support as always, and can't wait to see how we grow in 2023.
Yes, sir. Maybe with this OneMint software, we'll finally drop that NFT we've always been talking about. Also, repping the podcast Elrond sweatshirt. This is what I wore to X Day. Still no decisions on our rebrand, so we're sticking with podcast Elrond. But if you're watching till the very end of this episode, let us know if you're interested in one of these OG sweatshirts. If you're in the United States or international, we might just be able to get one to you. If you're that interested, let us know. That'd be cool to get our merch out there.
Hell yeah, dude. That would be sick to have people repping that shit.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, as Alex said, happy holidays to everybody. Be safe, be well. And I think that does it, bro. Episode 19 out of here. Peace out, everybody. See you at the next one.